Today in Grow a Garden in Roblox, we are going to do an updated trading guide when it comes to the new Zen update, including the Kitsune. If this is interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to become one of the first 100k OGs. And let's get into the video. This is my own personal tier list that I've created, and I have updated it to include the following pets. We've added the Kappa, Ascended pets, the Bald Eagle, and the Kitsune. Now, with the Kappa being new and relatively rare in the newest egg, and people having a hard time getting access to the egg, he's actually sitting here at the bottom of C tier. New and shiny is always interesting in trade. Not a lot of worth, but it does have a little bit of value. Then we move on to the Butterfly, and he is firmly in the top of A tier. The Butterfly is very powerful, very strong, very rare, and very desirable. The Butterfly is just such a fantastic pet. It is so much stronger than the Dragonfly and so much stronger than so many other options in this game. The rainbow mechanic is required when making powerful mutated fruits. So the Butterfly is firmly in the A tier. And that brings us to the Ankylosaurus, who is a relatively rare pull from the second most recent egg, and he is in the top of C tier. I don't know about you, but I have struggled to pull the Ankylosaurus even after opening nearly 200 dino eggs. I think I was just unlucky. The Axolotl has gained a little bit of ground in the world of the D tier, putting him firmly in the middle. Just a cute pet that people seem to enjoy. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's mid, it's okay. And the Bear Bee, regardless of the fact that honey sprinklers are no longer accessible, is firmly down in the bottom of D tier. I think there's just enough honeybee bears to go around, and the honey sprinklers, even though they're out of stock, people still have a ton of them. Yeah, the effect's not that great and not that desirable. He's way down in D tier. Now, the Blood Hedgehog is actually towards the top of D tier. Everyone knows about the Blood Hedgehog's effect to make giant dino shrooms. In fact, the reason I have hundreds of trillions of shekels is because of the Blood Hedgehog and the huge dino shroom I made. So don't sleep on it. They're quite desirable. Now, the Disco Bee, things have been moving with the Disco Bee. If you guys didn't know, Jandal was about to release a disco spray in the new merchant. However, he removed the disco spray. Because of that, at first the value of the Disco Bee started to go down, but once the spray was removed, it actually went back up. The Disco Bee is now at the top of S tier. That disco modifier being 125x is clutch, and the Disco Bee is super rare and super hard to pull. It's very desirable. It's top of S tier now. Moving right along to the Blood Kiwi, and the Blood Kiwi sits at the top of D tier, almost moving up for the first time into the C tier. Everybody is hatching eggs, and because of the new mutations, more and more people have access to the full 8 egg slots, and even then they still can't hatch eggs fast enough. So the Blood Kiwi's effect is becoming quite clutch, pushing up its value. Now we move to age 75 pets, and there was a time where the age 75 pet was considered an SS tier thing. But with mutations coming out, giving pets lots and lots of ways to increase the speed at which they gain experience, not to mention the new treats and the new leveling up lollipop, the level 75 pet has lost trade value. It has lost so much trade value, it's down here roughly in A tier. I'd still put it beneath a Butterfly. Age 75 pets still have trade value, but man, have they fallen pretty far. Now we have the Blood Owl, and the Blood Owl is actually holding up the bottom of C tier. With everyone trying to do mutations, the Blood Owl is one of the fastest ways to help a whole bunch of pets begin the mutation process. Even only having one Blood Owl in your garden with 7 other pets will almost actually double the rate at which those pets will grow, putting the Blood Owl firmly in the C tier. Now we have the Brontosaurus, and the Brontosaurus has dropped a great deal. It is down in D tier now. The Brontosaurus was highly loved because of its rarity and because it's a pretty big pet, but it has fallen out of favor and has dropped down into the D tier. The Chicken Zombie is holding up the bottom of B tier right now. It's a desirable pet with a desirable effect that no one else in the game can do. Zombie mutation is a 25x multiplier, which is pretty solid. Go ahead and grab one. They're fairly valuable. After that, we have the Cooked Owl, which still to this day is holding up the bottom of D tier. Seriously, everyone and their mother has a Cooked Owl. If you have one, it doesn't have much trade value. Use it for its effect, but other than that, it's okay. Then we have the Dilophosaurus, which surprisingly is continuing to hold up its value towards the top of C tier. People have been using 6 or 7 Dilophosauruses in their garden along with a pet they want to get to age 50 and using that to help level it up fairly quickly, so they have some value. Now, the Dragonfly has been moving up in value. However, it is still towards the bottom of A tier. Dragonflies are desirable from people who don't quite understand how the game works all that well because they see the gold mutation and they start freaking out. However, everybody knows that the rainbow mutation is far superior if you understand how the formula works for mutation calculation. So because of that, he has moved up to the A tier, but he is at the bottom. The regular hedgehog is down here in the D tier. It's desirable, but the blood hedgehog is simply superior, and the toucan is also down in the D tier because of its recent nerfs. The poor toucan got absolutely wrecked by its nerfs and now is just simply a decent pet. The mimic octopus is an interesting case because a lot of people value it very highly, even though the effect is somewhat mid. If you're the kind of person who has multiple of the pet you want, you don't need the mimic octopus. If you don't, having the mimic octopus is a nice band-aid if you don't have a bunch of raccoons or a bunch of queen bees or a bunch of whatever it is you need to duplicate. So I'm putting them in A tier, but I'm putting them towards the bottom of A tier right now because having multiples of the pet you want is still simply better. However, people do want to trade for it. It has value. The mole is down here in D tier. Valuable, somewhat sought after, but not the greatest. Same with the mooncat. In fact, I'm putting the mooncat towards the top of D tier because of its method. Mooncats work best in large groups. So people who want mooncats want like 7 or 8 of them. So they're still relatively sought after. And that brings us to the fennec fox. And the fennec fox is firmly in the A tier towards the top of A tier. I would put it pretty much equal to an age 75 pet right now. They're highly desirable, very rare, and still sought after by the community. I've said it before and I'll say it again. People like the fennec fox because it's rare, not so much for its effect. The moth is a great pet. Very useful, very nice, very average, very plentiful. Same with the night owl. Having a night owl is good, but you'd rather have a blood owl instead. I'm stuck with the night owl. I still haven't traded for a blood owl. I just haven't gotten around to it. The ostrich is super useful. I have gone into depth about the ostrich method. This puts it firmly into the D tier. It is a very nice, solid pet. Seriously, if you haven't tried having 8 ostriches in your garden whenever you hatch a bunch of eggs, it is so powerful. And that leads us on to huge pets. And this is the first pet we're putting into the SS tier. Some people may say I am biased because of all the huge pets I own, but the data does not lie. A huge pet can be worth maybe a butterfly or less if it's like a bunny and something undesirable. However, if it is a desirable pet, it is worth a massive amount of value. For example, if you had a huge T-Rex, if you hatched a huge Spinosaurus, a huge raccoon, if you manage to get a huge queen bee, a huge dragonfly, or a huge butterfly, those can be worth 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 raccoons plus. They're very desirable in this game. Now, the praying mantis, still overrated. Nobody wants it anymore. It used to be really desirable when the bug egg first came out. People overestimated its abilities, but now it's plentiful and not that strong and nobody wants it. And the pterodactyl has also fallen all the way down into the D tier. It has a mid effect. Everyone has access to windy mutations. It's no longer that great. Now, the red fox is moving up in the world. People are loving its cuteness. It is up the top of B tier. It is cute, it is wonderful, and for some reason people trade for the red fox like crazy. Personally, I don't understand it, but that's what the market is saying, and who am I to disagree with the market? The scarlet macaw has a useful effect, but now that there is a verdant spray in the game, I'm putting this way down here in the bottom of D tier. It used to be unique. It used to be the only one to give verdant, the only way to unlock paradisal, but that's gone. The seal also doesn't have as much trade value as before. It is in the middle of D tier. The seal is cute. The seal has an interesting effect, but there's lots of them. And that moves us on to the queen bee. The queen bee is definitely a B tier pet. I'll put them up there with the red fox. There are more queen bees out there in the wild than you'd think. However, they are desirable. They have useful effects. Pollinated is one of the rarer things in the game because the weather is now gone. However, there are a bunch of them. Queen bees are good, not great. The T-Rex is seeing a bit of a resurgence because of the new event. It is firmly in the A tier, right around the age 75 pet. T-Rex was losing a bit of value, but because of a new event, the T-Rex can spread the mutation to other plants, making it a little bit more valuable. People are trading for it. They're interested in the T-Rex again. Ascended pets have gone down in value. There are more of them. However, it's still an SS tier pet. It doesn't matter what is ascended. You could have an ascended starfish. People don't care so long as you can provide the dawn-bound mutation onto fruits. Ascended is exceptionally valuable. Continue to farm your mutations. continue to try and get ascended pets. The raccoon has not moved in value. It is still as valuable before as it is now. It hasn't shifted. The only thing that has changed is that the disco bee is more valuable. Looking at the data I have in front of me, the raccoon is solid and steady. People still adore it, love it. They want as many as possible. The disco bee just did this thing where since the spray never came out, people value the disco bee more, and they panicked and they started trading for them like crazy. It's worth like 20% more than the raccoon. Not much, but just enough. The bald eagle is plentiful and practically worthless right now. Again, maybe in the future it'll be worth a bunch, but as of this moment, no one really cares about it. Now, the Spinosaurus is our third S tier pet beneath the other two. I don't know why, but I think it's just a rarer hatch than the T-Rex. People are valuing the Spinosaurus more than the T-Rex right now. Maybe because we only have the Spinosaurus eggs for a week and the T-Rex eggs for 2 weeks, but I can't think that's just the case. Spinosaurus is definitely an S-tier trading pet. Now, the Kitsune. This is where things get a little bit interesting. The Kitsune is the tippy top of the SS tier. For some context, with the data I have in front of me, the Kitsune is worth 2 random ascended pets. You heard me. If you had an ascended starfish and like an ascended bunny, you might be able to trade for a Kitsune, but I highly doubt the Kitsune player is going to be trading his Kitsune. It is that hot right now. The Kitsune is worth roughly 9 or 10 raccoons. Maybe a Kitsune player will trade for 8 or 9 or 10 raccoons because then he has a raccoon army. Maybe. But the Kitsune is so hot right now. Nobody wants to trade that thing. I haven't seen them trade hands barely ever. And if anyone's offering you a Kitsune for your pets, be afraid of being scammed. Seriously, be afraid of being scammed right now. The Kitsune is that hot. However, I looked at the values a day ago, and then I looked at the values just now this morning, and the Kitsune has come down considerably. So as more and more Kitsune come into the game, its value will continue to drop. But right this very second, ooh, it is so hot right now. That is my tier list. Hopefully you like it. If you agree with it, comment down below. If you disagree with it, comment down below and tell me why. If you found value in this video, go ahead and subscribe and become one of the first 100K OGs. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.